Alright. What are we up to now? The club head analysis, I have these. Rico's eager to see the club head caps that have grown in the aviary. She hasn't seen mushrooms like this in decades. Are these fruiting bodies the same that emerged during the early days of the collapse, or something else? Well, I already have exactly enough, apparently. You hand them over to an eager Rico, who immediately begins work on the samples. Rico is at her bench, running small vials of some liquid through an old chemical analysis machine. The whirring of the spinning drum fills the lab with white noise, and you aren't sure if she notices you approach. Sleeper, it's good to see you. She looks up, smiling. This little project of ours has been keeping me awake the past few cycles, but right now, well, I think I have something. You should rest. I know my limits, she laughs to herself. I just don't like paying attention to them. The drum finishes spinning and Rico lifts a vial from it, holding it up to the light. This is something I extracted from those club heads you've been bringing me, and according to my analysis, it is a substance totally unique on the Greenway. You look at the small amount of liquid on the vial. Any idea what it might be? Rico asks, without looking away from the vial. Stabilizer. Rico nods. You aren't the first sleeper to come through here. Perhaps I should have mentioned that earlier. Rico's tone suddenly drops, changing the atmosphere in the lab immediately. I just thought... She pauses, thinking very carefully of how to continue. I just wanted you to trust us. What do you mean? She sighs. They came through a fair few cycles ago. We found them wandering the broken section near the gap. The members who brought them in had never seen one of you before. They were terrified of this strange person wandering in from open vacuum. They were quieter than you, and damaged. We did our best to patch them up and welcome them to the commune. I only really spoke to them once, while I was working on their wounds, along with a couple of systems engineers. She looks nervously at you. I'd never seen a body like that before. I took some readings, some samples. Samples? You have to understand, I was curious. I didn't know what I was looking at. I just took a little of the damaged material, less than a thumbnail. She shifts her weight to her crutch. The next cycle, they were gone. They took a little food and hiked up towards the wild margins, where the Greenway meets the wastes. Someone saw them in the distance, but that was it. They disappeared into the overgrowth. She sits down heavily, the vial in her hand. When I saw you, I wanted things to be different. I wanted to keep you here, rather than let you disappear into wherever they ended up. She smiles to herself. Yes, I wanted to understand this place better, but I also wanted to help you. It seems that, somehow, both my wishes have come true at once. She holds out a hand with the vial. This is for you. You take the stabilizer, the glass cold and smooth in your palm. How? Those clubhead caps made it for you, or at least, who or whatever made those clubheads. She starts to clear her bench. It was right there, contained in their tissue. I only had to extract it. I imagine you understand how incredible that is. I learned enough from that sleeper to know that your body, your frame, is it, runs on some exotic technology. Exotic technology that has a time limit built in. Somehow, the Greenway knows this too. It understands your physiology much better than I ever could. It knows how to treat you. Just like that miraculous antidote that sprung from the mold, so too has this sprung from your presence here. The Greenway is speaking to you. It is welcoming you. She looks up. I know it sounds crazy, but I know it to be true. Here's the evidence. And what I also know is that it is no longer speaking to me. Even after decades here, I have never seen this kind of response. Not since the antidote so many cycles ago. She smiles. So I'm going to make you a deal. You bring me as many club heads as you like. I'll extract a stabilizer and give it to you, freely. But you have to tell me what the Greenway says. You have to speak with it. To dig into it. To find what being is at the center of it. I've traveled as far as I can. I need you to do the rest. Can you do that? Yes. Rico sighs with relief and deflates into her chair. Thank you. I'm sorry for the other sleeper. Truly I am. I'm sorry I couldn't have done more. But I'm so glad I met you. She smiles. You are welcome here. Anytime. Rico falls silent. She looks smaller now, more fragile, and you realize how old she must be to have seen the collapse firsthand. You idle a little in the lab, in case she asks for anything else, but she remains silent, and so you drift back into the tunnel, thoughts of that other sleeper, and where they ended up, weighing on your mind. We know exactly where they ended up, I believe. 3 points. Boom. I did not expect us to be getting so much done on this tree, and so quickly, but everything's just kind of wrapping up, and every quest gives you one of these points. Now I gotta choose which one of these to go down next, I guess. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the sleeper that got killed by Ankita is the sleeper in that story. Going off to that exact location and all that. So we knew the story, the ending of that story before we knew the beginning. There we go. The only way to understand what the gardener gave you is to grow it. Rico's incredibly excited by the prospect. I'll take care of it, sleeper. Rico smiles. Don't you worry. Oh, it's gonna take a bit. The seed is planted and Rico is an attentive mother to it. What future is forming there? 8 days? Shit, I might actually run out of stuff to do. No, we have the ship up top to go to visit. But it's a little worrisome. Let's see, so I want to keep this going because this is how I get my stabilizer. So I should keep harvesting. And you get that from the positive outcome, so I probably want to go all in, honestly. I only get to do this every now and then I have to start the wait again. We want as many. We have. Oh, I only one club head. That's a better roll. So now the aviary needs the spores again. 3 times. I'm back in here for spores with my 6. Which is not enough. All right. Take a nap. Take a nap, take a nap, take a nap, take a nap, take a nap. That's some good numbers right there. Well, oh, shit. When it made a different sound, I briefly panicked that I somehow clicked on end cycle or something and just skipped a day. Sleeper. Morowitz is waiting for you on your way out. How have you been? Surviving. Moritz nods. That's the struggle. He glances around. He runs his hand through his hair. I've been meaning to ask you, Sleeper. What's it like? He pauses, suddenly unsure. I mean, you know, what does it feel like? To be a sleeper? Yeah, he shrugs. If you don't mind. It's hard. No doubt. He looks up. I have a lot of sympathy for it, like having to find a place, having to survive, having no future. He looks down. A lot of people around here understand that. Moritz looks away, but you notice him for the first time, not just as Bliss's assistant, but as someone with their own worries, their own struggles, their own life. You feel bad for not noticing earlier. Moritz looks back at you. Anyway, I got a message for you. Bliss sent me down. We've scored another contract and she needs your help. That's the message. He pauses. Look, I know last time the payment didn't come through, but you did good work. Bliss knows that. That's on her. Moritz flinches. She's doing her best, alright? I know. He nods. See you up there. Moritz turns and strides off, leaving you in the corridor. Time to help Bliss. And maybe this time, you think to yourself, it'll work out. Will it, though? I'm going after her a little bit because it's like, that is a hell of a fuck up. See, this quest just is over, right? Yeah. I can export some Matsutake. $80. Wow. Granted, I'm not entirely sure what I can spend money for on this point, but it's there. Back up to the hub. Whoa! That's a lot of pluses. What's going on there? Okay. Is that one the one that just obliterates it? Alright, so saving the crop. The sycamore seed needs to be reinforced and sealed, otherwise the crop will be lost. Fragile biome. The sycamore seed's internal biome is in trouble. Every action will bring it closer to collapse. Sacrifice section. Vent a section and you will have a better chance of saving the remaining crops, but you will lose some in the process. The question is how many? Reinforced bulkheads. Welding in a zero-G farm is tricky. The torch, the heat, the sealant, everything can save the crop. Everything can damage the crop you're trying to save. The question is whether or not the risk is a payoff that works. Is this a trap? Is the positive outcome still bad? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 24 segments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's half of them in one go. But generally speaking, the top result is the positive outcome and the bottom result is the negative outcome, and whatever else you get is in between. What is the positive outcome? Is it 0 fragile biome? 3? Too many? Only do it once. Okay, it's 6. But I got 5 of these. That's something. Gotta hope that that gets you ahead in a way that's useful. I think it did. This is a terrible roll, though. There we go. Okay, we're almost there. But not quite. But we've significantly outpaced the bad. So that's good. I've only gone up by 3. I think this might have been more efficient for keeping this ahead of that. Although it would have taken significantly longer. Like, days of actions. So there's downsides. Just gonna go ahead and sleep here. Complete active scenes. Never mind. I have to go somewhere else. Oh. Attica. Ankita, not Attica. Yeah. You spot Ankita on the track to the farm stack. She has a box on her shoulder and is working her way down the slope. She sees you as she approaches. Neither of you speak for a moment. She looks tired, pale. Her hair is tangled and clumps of dirt cling to her armor. You both eye each other. Ankita. She holds up a hand. Sleeper. She takes a deep breath. I'm sorry for what happened. Truly I am. She looks down. I'm sorry you ended up in the middle of this, when all you have shown me is kindness. She rubs her face. I'm sorry. It's okay. It's not, but she nods, then looks up at the stars. I've never... She stops herself. Thank you. Ankita shifts the weight of the box on her shoulder. I've been preparing for... She grimaces. Look. She sighs. Can you come with me? It's easier if... Lead on. Ankita leads on down the dirt path between the pillars. There's a wind passing through the greenway, a quirk of the air currents the biosphere maintains, and it ruffles the leaves softly. The sound makes the silence more obvious, more complete. You try not to think of the last time you were here. You've been trying not to think of it for the past few cycles. The image of the sleeper, sprawled, twisted, open, connected to the ship mind, has been hard to forget. You realize Ankita is leading you back there, back to the drum at the center of the stack. You pause, trembling a little, at the threshold. She turns. What are you doing? She looks at you with empty eyes. What needs to be done? You stand on the threshold and look up at the tanks, green and wet, some glowing with flickering grow lamps. You look down at Ankita, suddenly so small under this hulking ruin, the smallest she has ever looked. She places a box down. Follow her in. You follow Ankita to the stack through a low tank, entering the drum at ground level. It is just as beautiful as you remember, but it barely touches you. Instead, you check the apertures of the tanks for the glint of a weapon, for a shadow amongst the moss. Ankita stops, and you look down. The mossy island at the center of the tank is clear now, the equipment cleared away. In its place is a mound of dirt, loosely covered with moss. Ashton's rifle stands straight, half buried in the dirt at the grave's head. I buried them together, Ankita says without turning. You both stand there in silence for a little while. You think of questions you could ask, about Ashton, about the sleeper. How long did you know him? She takes a moment to respond, and for a moment you think she won't, but then the words come gushing out. He signed on a while ago. He used to run a recon for a corporate outfit, but he got sick of the pay. He joined the crew as a sniper, and the first few jobs were a breeze. He was so cold, disconnected, he always hit his marks. The last few jobs, though, he was different. I noticed that. We'd had a period of extended shore leave on the Eye, and when he came back he was changed. I assumed he just had too much time off. He was right. I never would have given him the ship mind. I wouldn't have believed him. I've had crew members double-cross me, undercut me, rat me out. That's the business. He wasn't a good person. None of us in this job are. This is how we die. Alone. She stops, not sure of what to add. It seems like she's reaching for something, but she can't quite get there. You feel that gap between you. As you do, it widens. The water drips. The moss trembles. You both stand in silence for a while longer. You both feel it. Life creeping back in. The silence ending. Ankita shifts her weight, and then starts to walk out. You follow her, suddenly eager to back out, and to be back in the open of the space of the Greenway, to be away from this place forever. You stand outside and breathe the fresh air. You stare at the green leaves and the stars wheeling above them. That's it, says Ankita from somewhere behind you. You try to think of something to say, but can't. Ankita puts a hand on your shoulder. You turn back to her. At least take this. She forces a handful of cryo-chits into your hands. It's what I owe. She looks at you desperately. You look down at the metal bars. Ugly little things, you think. Take the chits. You take the chits and turn without saying a word. You continue up the track and she does not follow. As you walk up the rise, the wind picks up and the leaves shudder. You walk faster, trying to outpace your anger. The chits are heavy in your pockets, and you hate them for reminding you of how little life is worth. Fuck. Achievement unlocked, the bad end? Are you judging me, or is it just... Find an old crewmate on the edge of the rim. Oh man. Are you suggesting there's a good end? I wonder. Looking at the achievements, which you can't see because I'm in game record mode. There's one achievement called loot boxes. Steal 3 shipments just to see what's inside. And then there's 6 secret achievements I don't have yet. Huh. I have 20 out of 27. I guess as the map shows us, I am probably pretty far along at this point. And also this list is shrinking. Oh my god, it is shrinking. We're down to Bliss and the Greenway, so I'll probably be looking into the what's probably the Flux storyline soon. This is the consequence of me approaching this the way I do, is that stuff like this, sometimes stuff does take a long time. But it's been somewhat easier to follow some of what's happening, I think. But I think we're on our way to wrapping things up. Those are terrible rolls. Those are much better rolls. Not amazing, but improved. I know that wait's gonna be a while. Okay. We're just about there. There we go. Even got the positive outcome on that dice roll. You and Bliss are floating in the bay's airlock, waiting for it to cycle. You pick a few leaves from your clothes as you wait. They float around the chamber as if carried by a lazy wind. Clean work. Bliss bows a little. Well, thank you, Sleeper. You didn't do so bad yourself. She checks her tool belt. Seems like we're getting into a good rhythm. The now familiar sequence of clunks and rattles sound out, and then the door hisses open. The moment it does, you know something has once again gone wrong. What's all this? Bliss asks confused-looking Moritz. Beside him are a set of crates, anchored to the bay floor. He has clearly just brought them in through the bay's freight lock. Moritz looks nervously between the two of you before answering. It's payment. He runs a hand along the crate. The Sycamore Seed crew just brought them over. He stops, but seeing the look on Bliss's face adds, they were very thankful. I bet they were, she clenches her fist. What the hell's inside? Moritz leans over and struggles with the catches on either side of the top crate. As he does, Bliss turns to you. Don't say it. Bliss stares into space. Don't you dare say it. Say what? You know. She looks back at you. This isn't my fault. Moritz finally gets the catches free and the lid floats off, drifting up into the bay. As it does, a small brown lump floats up with it. Moritz reaches out and catches it as it passes him. Is that a... mushroom? Bliss finishes. A damn mushroom. They paid us in mushrooms? Not just mushrooms. He holds out a clump of tightly packed leaves. Produce. Bliss starts laughing. Goddamn Haifa commune should have known they didn't have a chit to rub between them. She knocks a small brown mushroom across the bay. It's the people that I'm working at, funnily enough. Stop, Bliss. Moritz grabs her hand. These are good. Fresh. We can sell them. To who, Moritz? Are we running grocers now? No, actually, those are worth a lot, apparently. I sold 3 caps for 80. We need cryo. Otherwise, this whole bay will be shut down. We can't pay for parts with leafy greens. She waggles them at Moritz's face. Moritz is right. Bliss raises an eyebrow. Fine, maybe Moritz is right, but what do we do between now and market day? She rubs her forehead. What a joke this place is turning out to be. Moritz closes up the crates and starts moving them. It isn't that bad, Bliss. It's a step in the right direction. He glances at you, looking for backup. They'll sell well. Bliss sighs. Looks like I went into business with a couple of wannabe farmers. Actual farmer, but okay. Prove me wrong, then. Show me this is a windfall. She kicks away towards the new, patched-together terminal. Until then, I'll be working on how to keep this place open. Moritz mouths a thank you and goes back to moving the crates. You'd better be on your way, too. Nah, man, we're good. We're fine. 4 more days of waiting. Alright, we'll see you in a bit. In the meantime... Did you give me the caps? I'm not sure. Did I have those a minute ago? Yeah, I can only sell the Matsutake here. Or am I waiting to find out that'll... Let's see, let's check the thing. Is it a countdown till Harvest Day or whatever? Bliss is taking another shot at landing a contract. After the run you've had, it seems like the last chance. Rule of threes and all that. Maybe Moritz will come back with context about that or something. But what do I keep not making money? Except I am making money, just not that way. Well, in the meantime, what else are we gonna get up to? Let's see. Flotilla aid. Plant the seed, let it grow. Bring mushrooms to the briar. I think that's more or less where we are now. I think it's time to start the Flux expansion. Because we've, we gotta wait for the stuff in progress to happen. They're all time padded. Albeit. Which would be a stressful drain on resources if this was a little more survivally, but at the mo, it's not the biggest deal. But I probably should not have been selling mushrooms, I guess. So one more set of spores to set this thing off again. before it gets angry at me. There go. Alright, let's see how many spores that they wanted from me up here. The Climbing Briar. Welcome to Episode Flux. Episode Flux is the first of 3 episodic updates of Citizen Sleeper, telling the story of the refugee flotilla which has arrived at the Eye. Completing the action above will begin that story, but be aware that it is intended for late game play. This is a lot of wall break stuff. Okay, it doesn't say that it's gonna like cut off anything else I'm doing, right? Supply G rolls. Ash asks you to bring supplies, and fragrant, eye-grown G-roll caps seem to like be the perfect thing to impress her. Hopefully it has like some kind of like end point that's satisfying. So it's not just like, see you when we update this again, bye! You came. Peak smiles as you walk into the Climbing Briar's cargo hold, behind a gloomy Ash. They brought mushrooms. Ash tosses the mushroom caps onto a crate, raising her eyebrows at Peak. Peak gives her a look. Thank you, Sleeper. They pick one up and sniff at it. Are these edible? Try it. Peak squints at you and the mushroom before delicately putting it back down. I'll wait. We're not so used to fresh produce. Ash is securing crates as she speaks, and doesn't look up. Hawthorne doesn't have much in the way of farming. They're an acquired taste. I'm sure the refugees will acquire it. Ash wipes off her hands on a rag. Most of them are from Ember's moons, so they're used to eating greens and growing things. Not like us XPR roughnecks. XPR? This is an interrogation? She glares. Either way, we are done with that place, which is all you need to know. Ash leans back against the crates she was securing. We're going to need more than a few mushrooms if we want to help those refugees, though. What do they need? Food, water, components, a whole lot of things. Ash stands and walks over to the mushrooms you brought, placing them into a small container with care. The problem isn't just getting supplies, it's getting them through to the ships. Can't you just fly around? And get the Briar Seas for breaching quarantine? No thanks, she laughs. We were lucky we got here before the cordon was set up. That's the only reason we're on this side. Why is there a quarantine? Peak jumps in. The Eye has a closed-loop life support system, just like any orbital installation. Any unfamiliar illness or significantly increased strain on life support could cause a cascading collapse in its systems. Ash scoffs. Are we making excuses for these bureaucrats now? We are being realistic, Ash. But these people aren't an increased strain. They're living people. Ash stares at you. Even calling them refugees is just a way of turning a lot of scared, desperate people into a single, monolithic group. Ash slides the container full of mushrooms into one of the cargo hole's racks. Look, as much as I'd like to chat, we've still got a lot of space to fill on this hold. So if you're going to help... I think Ash is trying to say we need your help, and quickly, Peak says, glancing at her. The refugees behind the cordon. They won't be able to hold out indefinitely. We need to get supplies to them in the next 12 cycles, or... Oh, God. Suddenly we have a high-stakes situation to worry about. We have a time limit, although it's a very slow one. Though it could be a high task, too. Ash steps forward. Or Havenage will have to bear the responsibility for whatever happens next. What can I do? There's 3 things we still need to secure. Water, food, and scrap components for ship repairs. Ash gestures to the storage containers around the hold. Water we can find as a way to source, or, my preference, just siphon off from the underground reservoirs in the Greenway. Peak raises the eyebrows. Ash. She ignores them. For food, things could be tricky. Those mushrooms are delicious, I'm sure, but no way we can get enough volume to feed a flotilla. However, I saw an algae stack on the way over. If we can get access... No more stealing, Esh. Peak sighs. I didn't say steal. She stares at them indignantly. If we can get access, we can work the stack. Harvest some algae for the flotilla. Those stacks churn out vast quantities in short timescales. And the repair components? Peak asks tentatively. Esh smiles. Just look around you, Peak. This whole place is made of scrap. She shoots you a glance. And I'm sure the Sleeper has their sources. They can bring them right here. We get everything before time runs out. Perfect? We get everything before time runs out. Perfect. We get most of it. Also good. Either way, in 12 cycles I'm going to take what we have and go. This sounds problematic. Esh laughs. You don't know the half of it. Ash. Peak cuts in. They are right. What is the plan here? Esh shoulders a container. I thought I'd leave that up to you, Peak. They flinch. Are you serious? Esh, I know we said we would help the flotilla, but at what point... They stop, take a breath. This is seriously... Take this seriously, Ash. I don't know the first thing about breaching a quarantine cordon. Maybe not. Ash looks at you. But they might. They slipped out of an SNR facility, didn't they? Plus, they've been here longer than us. You are always trying to get me to find help. Well, here it is. She gestures at you. Help. Pete glances between the two of you. I swear to... They sigh. I need to... think this one through. Meet me at the cordon in a couple of cycles, Sleeper. Maybe you can figure something out. Meanwhile, Esh meets your eye. You can help me acquire the supplies. Discreetly. She smiles. We have to keep this quiet. Keep Havenage out of the loop. Once they get suspicious, this is all over for all of us. This all suddenly seems a little too real, too dangerous. You've only just found your feet on the eye. This is not a time for causing trouble. Come find us. We'll be out there trying to pull this all together. Ash goes back to the hold to start packing another container. Peak, come help me. Peak glances at her. Sleeper, look, we didn't choose this either. They lower their voice. Help us finish this. We've set up a base camp on the Broken Spoke. You are welcome to rest there in any of the cots while we work on this. They smile. We are in this together. Peak! Ash shouts, and they walk back into the hold to help with the container. As you leave the climbing briar, you look out at the broken edge of the eye's ring, where Havenage's cordon blinks with tiny red lights. What are you getting yourself into? Scary time limit, apparently, and a new bed. Briar base camp. Just the usual, no changes, no special characteristics. Well, how much do I have? Oh, scrap. Eight scrap components. Suddenly I have reason to go scavenging, I guess. Briar's Hold. The flotilla needs food, water, and components. You might not be able to get all of them, but Ash will take what you can get. Peak's plan. All of the supplies in the world are nothing without a plan to get them to the flotilla. That's Peak's part in this. Ash's run. The clock is running. In 12 cycles, Ash will make her run to the flotilla. The better prepared she is, the better the result will be. Okay, how do I help with the plan? And how do I help with food? It only gives me scrap as an option. And I have 0 scrap? Great. Not even my engineering actions have been giving me scrap. Okay, let's see about the scrap thing here. +1 scrap component. Is that the best possible outcome? Jeez. Alright. I now have 1 scrap, so I need to get 8 somehow? Via just good rolls, I guess. Man, okay. And I guess the food options must come up as options after you deliver the scrap, I guess? I'm a little confused because there's so much stuff here. But this is the only interaction I have. Usually they're like 2 competing things or something, and I can feed up each of them or something. It would be helpful to know what food stuff to invest in with my additional rolls that I maybe don't want to spend elsewhere. But at least I got this thing coming up. Oop. The algae stack. Oh, that's the other part. Oh. Oh, it became objectives all over the place. Okay. That makes more sense. They're not all back at the ship. I was confused.